So currently I am about around 52 hours in the amazing metaphor ReFantazio. So I'm noticing a few things that's actually helping me become even more immersed in this already very immersive game. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually slowing down and reading every entry log that I come across. And I mentioned this in my previous video, but man, is it so effective. And for those of you who haven't played Metaphor ReFantazio, I highly recommend playing it and reading all of the little notes in the wonderful memorandum. The memorandum really supports the bonkers, craziness of this quote unquote fantasy world in a very precise and detailed way. So when I started this game, one of the first things that stood out to me that I thought was gonna be a flaw, and I actually wrote it down in my notes, I thought that the different races looked a bit generic. And I mean, one can still say that because they don't look as like unique as per se the Mass Effect races where you have the Krogan and the Hanar, the Turians, the Geth. It's not as unique as that. And for those of you who play Mass Effect, who have played Mass Effect, you know how unique those races look. In Metaphor, all the races except for one, the UGIF, these bat-like creatures or race, the bat-like race, all of the creatures are essentially the same with odd little mutations, mutations compared to a regular human being. All these little small subtle mutations that they perceive as being completely different races or tribes, which they are because, that is the reality of their world. But going in and actually reading about each tribe, it really opens up the actual complexity of what Atlas and the folks at Zero Studio are trying to illustrate. There is a hierarchy amongst these races. And as a black man who has primarily lived the majority of his life within the United States, these United States, it hits really hard for me to see the amount of segregation, to see the amount of bigotry. There's a lot of bigotry in this game by religious entities that plagues this world in a very similar way to the way it plagues our world. Now, I personally think the world of Metaphor is worse in a lot of ways currently, in current times. Where I'm at, I get a lot of respect. I do not get disrespected much. I don't run into many assholes. I travel all over the world, and I am met with welcoming arms most of the time. In Metaphor ReFantazio, you play as an elder race. An elder race is a race that pretty much doesn't exist anymore. So something that really struck me was the fact that one of our party members, Heisme, is a UGIF. A UGIF, again, is a bat-like creature. Heisme began to complain about how hard it was for the UGIF, right? And he stopped in his tracks and he looked at Travel Boy, the main character, my protagonist, the protagonist, and he says, well, I really have nothing to complain about because you are an elder. An elder is by far the most scrutinized race or tribe of them all because they're so few and so rare. And that dawned on me. Because, okay, I tend to stick out a lot everywhere I go. I've had locks for over 20 some odd years now, right? I have a big beard, so I attract a lot of attention, especially when I go to places that does not have a predominantly black population. So there have been many moments of my life, including where I'm living now, where there's literally no one that looks like me whatsoever apart from my 4-person family. And it's odd because when you're talking to people on a day-to-day basis, like when I go to a grocery store, you can see the curiosity in their eyes that they want to ask or say something, especially because I typically wear my locks in one giant bun, especially my wife. My wife's locks are way longer than mine. They go to her calf muscles. So we do get those looks of curiosity. It's not necessarily a look of like hatred or prejudice or anything like that. Because I'm not gonna lie, where I'm at, people are very friendly, and they're very cordial, and they look out for you. They literally look out for you. But you can still tell there's this like little gleaming sense of curiosity, like, what's this guy about? And I get that sense playing as the elder boy. It's that same thing where it's like, this is the only character that I've seen in the entire game of playing 50 some odd hours with blue hair and heterochromia eyes, 2 different color eyes, running around dressed like no one else. And I feel like that's a really, really cool statement that the game makes. Your character, Travel Boy, is trying to form bonds with everyone. And I feel like my life is kind of similar to that. Like, I've gotten really far from strengthening bonds with people who have absolutely nothing in common with me. You'll be shocked at the people in my life. And that is because I feel like what Metaphor is actually trying to say, and I haven't finished the game yet, but what it's actually trying to say is trying to show the beauty in us all, right? There's a lot of strife in this world in particular, just like our world. And I think what the game does really well is illustrate that our differences is in fact what makes us strong. It is. Can you imagine playing Mass Effect and only playing as the Krogan race, like all your party members as a Krogan race, or only playing as the Solarian? Like, that would suck. I love the way this game handles tribes, aka races. I think it's a very beautiful thing because it holds true to my ideology of the world, that we are all beautiful in our own different ways, no matter how unique, rare, or odd you may be. No matter if you have purple hair, pink hair, or black hair, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yes, you should always know who you are and where you come from and your heritage, of course. But do not let that heritage limit you living your life and forming bonds with people who are not like you. So I say all that to say this: love yourself, love who you are, and love the differences in others. Even if you're not in 110% agreement, you have to remember the one thing that we all have in common. We all have to breathe. We all breathe the same air, and we're all on the same planet. And I know it sounds a little hokey, but I feel like with all the negativity that's going on, especially within the gaming industry, well, the discourse of the gaming industry, which I honestly ignore, so I'm kind of out of the loop. I kind of just like focus on games and my art and my YouTube. So sometimes you might even pick up on it if I don't have the same opinion as the opinion quo, or the status quo, or the zeitgeistic, that's not a word, zeitgeistic opinion. I may think differently. And I think that is also a strength in who you are. Your opinion is powerful because it is literally stemming from all your experiences prior. So you might play Metaphor and you might not get that same feeling I get when playing as this elder boy. You might not get that. You might get something different. You might get his attire. Maybe you're one of those guys that refuse to wear baggy clothes, so everything has to be fitted. So maybe, I don't know, you relate to the guy's outfit. I could never know because I'm not you. But I'll tell you this, forming opinions on things you love literally forms who you are, because it is your opinion of something that is optional. We don't have to play these games. We choose to play these games. So throughout my life, being a gamer and playing all these games, I've played so many games. I'm actually more intrigued when the online discourse is in complete opposition to what I like. I mentioned Mass Effect. Mass Effect 3 came out. Everyone, those endings are garbage. Meanwhile, I'm like, wait, this whole thing is the ending of a epic ass trilogy that I've been following for years. I don't see the ending as those 3 choices. That's not the ending. The ending is the entire journey of the game. Seeing the outcome of all of the characters That is the true ending. And I have gone back and played Mass Effect 3 probably 4 or 5 times since its release, and I have still not seen all the different outcomes in that game. But if you were around when Mass Effect 3 was dropped, you remember the fans, the quote unquote fans, making threats against the people who make the game, stating that how can the endings of this amazing game be so rubbish and all this other stuff when they only played it once. And I would even argue most of them didn't even finish the game, but they just want to be a part of that discourse. And you know what I'm realizing? I've seen this behavior for decades now. This is not new. This is not new. The people who are online who are constantly complaining about games and complaining about this, they've always been there. They're just louder now. They just have channels with subscribers. They form their own, like, essentially tribe, if you will. But it's a fruitless tribe, because I, in my opinion, when you build stuff on negativity, you're only going to get back negative in the end. You're not going to have any substance because you have not appreciated anything. If every single title, every single thumb that you have on your YouTube channel is in the negative, I believe you have lost. And I don't give a shit if they're more popular or not. I don't care if they make a ton of money and I make none. The fact remains the same. They are miserable slaps of shit that do not deserve my attention. So I do not give it, because in reality, your attention is everything. Anyway, enough of this creative ramble. I will come back with another studio log. Just an update on this painting that I'm working on here. I'm actually almost finished. I'm on the finishing touches, and I know I've been working on this for like 2 months. But again, just like my video games, I am not rushing for anyone or anything. I spent 12 years of my life painting for others, and I refuse to do that again if I don't have to. If you'd like to see my work, simply head over to my website, jahbu.com. I have added a ton of paintings that I have had to re-upload because my printing company, or the printing company I use, just up and died one day. So I'm literally in the process of putting up my entire catalog again, slowly but surely. Please sign up for the newsletter on that website so you can see when this painting will drop and any other updates when it comes to me and art that may arise. In the comments section, please go down and put what you think about gaming discourse, or what you think about Metaphor ReFantazio, without spoilers. Don't spoil it for me, please. I'm actually looking forward to what you guys type. I'm trying to get to one upload or post a week. That is my goal. So I'm gonna have to do these studio videos to fill in the blanks in between my more edited, quote unquote, professional videos where I'm actually critiquing or, going through notes or, and all that fun jazz. Anyway, my wonderful people, until next time, one love, peace.